All right, folks, let's jump right into this because, you are not going to believe what just happened. Morgan Freeman, the iconic voice of authority we've all come to love, just baffled everyone on live television, specifically on The View, with his unfiltered, candid honesty.
You're making sure people don't forget vital parts of our past, including this documentary that you executive produced called 761st. Did I get that right? Yeah, 761st Tank Battalion, the original Black Panthers.
This is the stuff of dramatic legends. Seriously. So, here's the scoop. Freeman's appearance was initially about talking up his latest Netflix series, Life on Our Planet. People tuned in expecting the usual dose of charm and maybe a little talk about dinosaurs or evolution. Who doesn't love that, right? But things took a turn. A sharp turn. Okay, picture this. There's Freeman, probably sipping his coffee, and everything starts as these shows usually do. Whoopi Goldberg does the honors of welcoming him. You know how it goes. Everybody claps. Everyone's all smiles. It's all lighthearted. But the vibe changed so fast it was like, wow, what just happened? Sonny Hostin tried steering the conversation towards a prior documentary Freeman worked on, dealing with Black American troops in World War II. This wasn't just some trivia round, folks. She had her note cards, but Morgan wasn't about to just nod and agree. No way. Instead, Morgan Freeman, he took the proverbial gloves off and kind of challenged not just the hosts, but pretty much all of television, with his take on Black representation in historical narratives.
And how many times did I see Black people in the movies? And if I did see them, what were they doing?
There were servants.
Can you believe he just dove right into it? His focus? The blatant lack of diverse stories. He wasn't shying away from letting everyone know that the history we're shown isn't the full picture. You're making sure people don't forget vital parts of our past, right? Hostin queried, referencing Freeman's documentary 761st, the original Black Panthers. Let's note here, Freeman didn't flinch. He seized that moment to highlight something deeper about representation. Back in the day, Freeman said, as a moviegoer, he would see Black actors, almost always, playing servants.
I had a question, but we run out of time. Listen, this is extraordinary, this documentary.
Oh, yeah. I agree. I'm movie buff from early childhood. I saw my first movie when I was like 6 years old.
Imagine that. As a younger version of himself, that impression left a mark. And he's certainly not one to let things slide when something needs to be said, especially things that, matter culturally and historically. Goldberg, trying to stay in the middle of this, suggested, at a different time, that was just how it was, reflecting on how history portrayed minorities in films. But man, Freeman, with trademark calm and firmness, you just gotta love it, was like, that's an incomplete picture.
It was King Kong.
It's not her fault. It's the period. It's upsetting to watch. Tell you the truth.
It shouldn't be that way because somebody did make money.
Yeah.
And now that's the time. Now look at today, things we were always in flux. Always.
But we've always been here.
There were servants. They were always. I know. It's appalling.
I can give you the name.
If you watch old movies, Betty Davis
on the planet is in a little bit of trouble, and we're the cause of it.
That's right.
There have been, if I remember correctly, 6 extinction-level events on the.
There have always been stories of success, stories of stability that never got their screen time. The reality he sees? History has been, maybe unconsciously, edited to favor certain narratives over others. And folks, Freeman's not just talking out of his hat. He's been in the game long enough to recognize that the media holds unbelievable power in shaping perceptions. He's seen it. He's felt it. Now, around this time, tension? Oh, it was thick enough to cut with a knife. The air felt electric. Just when things were getting really interesting, just as, you could say, the real talk was about to peak, the producers signaled for a commercial break.
Ladies, excuse us. Let us do our job. We hear what you have to say, but you gotta...
Apparently, the control room decided enough was enough, maybe fearing that Freeman would turn The View into the news. After the show wrapped up, social media was on fire. People weren't just upset, they were genuinely rattled. They were like, wait, why cut him off? Why bring on someone of Freeman's caliber if you're just going to usher him off as he's dropping truth bombs? I mean, the viewers weren't thrilled. Let's just say that. Morgan Freeman's legendary through and through, but his no-nonsense, forthright manner can be, well, daunting for those not used to confronting tough truths right in the face. The View producers, it seems kind of evident, got a lot more than they bargained for with his presence. And let's be honest, this isn't the first time Freeman's, well, a little bit ruffled feathers with his straightforward approach. He's spoken on a variety of important topics before, from race relations to climate change itself. He just doesn't do BS. His way of speaking is just smooth, calculated, but oh so intense. You can tell he's incredibly passionate about change. You know, to be fair, Morgan Freeman manages to be both poignant and relatable. That's probably why he carries so much influence. Whether it's through his films, voiceover work, or moments like what we just saw on The View, the man has this way of keeping everyone on their toes. Truth be told, the whole segment leaves us with lingering questions. Was Freeman's time cut short because of limited airtime, or was it because his truths were too raw, too real for a midday audience?
I want to ask you about a different documentary.
Go ahead.
As some politicians around the country try to erase Black history, you're making sure people don't forget vital parts of our past, including this documentary.
And here's the thing. Regardless of the reason, we saw the gap. We felt it. It illustrates perfectly how, at the end of the day, certain truths are still tough to handle live. So, what do you guys think? Was it fair on Freeman's part, or a disconnect on the producer's end? Was he setting the stage for a larger conversation that was unfairly halted? Let's dig into it. You know, the more we unpack, the more it feels like this is about setting the stage for new kinds of dialogue. A dialogue that perhaps makes us, collectively, uneasy, but also one that could propel us forward if given the chance. So, as Freeman fans, as viewers, what do we make of this abrupt cut? I mean, is there more to learn here about where we currently stand in media representation? At the end of the day, maybe this was kind of a wake-up call, a moment for reflection on what stories we're telling and consuming on mainstream platforms. Aren't platforms like these, after all, meant to tackle such hard-hitting topics rather than turning away? It leaves us wondering about the larger conversation we need to continue, the stories left untold, and the power one voice has to shape, maybe even redefine, mainstream narratives. There's no simple solution, but seriously, it calls us to action, right? Tell us what you think. We'd love to hear all your thoughts. Drop them in the comments below, and let's see where this dialogue takes us next.